continue our discussion over Section 34 of the Indian Penal Code. As we have studied, acts done in furtherance of common intention of all, then each one shall be liable as if it were done by him alone. So all the person who took a very small part in the commission of the crime shall be responsible for it. So let us come to the point on the case laws, and one of the most important judgment on this point is Baren Kumar Ghosh versus Emperor, decided by the Privy Council in the year 1925. In this case, what happened? The appellant was charged under Section 302, read with Section 34 of the Indian Penal Code, for the murder of a sub postmaster on 3rd of August 1923. So what happened? The sub postmaster was counting the money in the back room of the post office. Immediately, several persons appeared before him, and these people demanded money from the sub postmaster. And immediately afterwards, they started firing over the postmaster, and the sub postmaster died immediately after firing. What happened? The assailants fled into different directions without taking money. But one of them, called Barendra Kumar Ghosh, was chased by the office assistant, and he fired several rounds but caught by the office assistant, and finally he was prosecuted under Section 302, read with Section 34 of the Indian Penal Code. But his stand and his argument before the court was, I was standing outside and not fired at the postmaster. His first and foremost argument was that I was just standing outside of the court, and therefore I could not fire over the postmaster, and therefore I shall not be responsible under Section 34, and therefore I should be exempted from the criminal liability, and I should be criminally held liable for only standing outside of the post office. Second argument was, he was compelled to join others and not intended to kill. This was his second argument. And the argument number three was, each was punishable as the act was done by him alone, as it is a principle laid down under Section 34 of the Indian Penal Code. So if Section 34 covers all the aspects of the joint liability, then Section 141 and Section 149 would become meaningless. So, as per his argument, that if all the aspects of joint liability and constructive liability is covered under Section 34, then Section 141 and Section 149 would become meaningless, because that is also covering aspect of joint liability, and that is for the common object. But the Privy Council rejected his all the three arguments and said even if the appellant did nothing, and he stood outside of the door. So they also serve who just stand and wait. So the Privy Council rejected his all the arguments and said even if the appellant was outside of the gate and he just waited there, still he is serving in the crime, and therefore he shall be held responsible. The Privy Council cited a very interesting illustration in this particular judgment and said, if A and B put a rope around the neck of C and pull it into opposite direction, and they are pulling the opposite direction of the rope until C died. This is the situation that is sought to be met by rule of liability contained in Section 34 of the Indian Penal Code. If each will be liable for his own act or for his act alone, then both can claim that he cannot be held liable for the offense of murder. One might not be succeeded without the help of other. So if this is the situation, then anyone cannot be held responsible for the offense of murder without the help or without the aid of the other. So therefore, this is the exact case we are trying to meet, and therefore both shall be held responsible for the offense of murder by virtue of Section 34 of the Indian Penal Code. So it was finally decided that Bharat Kumar Bose shall be responsible for the offense of murder of the sub postmaster.
Come to one of the very important and most complicated judgment of entire IPC, that is Mehboob Shah versus Emperor, decided by the Privy Council in the year 1943. In this case, there were two group of people, so don't get confused since it is most complicated just because of names of the accused persons and names of the victims. So therefore, let us clarify the names that who were these two group of people and what were their role and how it proceeded. So in this case, one group of people called Al-Haddad and Hamidullah along with few others. See the figure number 1 where Al-Haddad and Hamidullah, these were two people along with few others, went uh, into the bank of the river Indus to collect some reeds. Other group of people were the Mr. Hussain Shah. He was having son called Mr. Walisa, and he was having a nephew called Mr. Gulam Qasim Shah, and one more character was Mehboob Shah. So these were four people. Mr. Hussain Shah, he was the father of Wali Shah, and and his nephew was Ghulam Qasim Shah, and other character was Mehboob Shah. So these were four people, along with and in other group there were other four people, but in which Al Haddad and Hamdullah were important. Now come to the facts of the case. What happened? Sorry. In this case, what happened? Al-Haddad, he was the deceased. He died in this particular case, in this particular incident. So Al-Haddad, along with Hamidullah and few others can be shown, can be seen in the figure. So few others proceeded in the boat for collecting and cutting reeds. रीड जो कहते हैं वो नदी के बैंक पे कुछ पौधा होता है उसको रीड बोलते हैं so reeds on the bank of river Indus, he wanted to collect it and cut it. So when they traveled about a mile, एक 1 mile की दूरी पे वो गए होंगे in the downstream, and they saw Muhammad Hussain Shah, the father of Wali Shah, bathing on the bank of the river. So what happened? Muhammad Hussain Shah warned them against the collecting of reeds from the land belonging to whom. मोहम्मद हुसैन शाह ने कहा कि ये रीड्स हमारे जमीन में पैदा हुई है, आप इसको कलेक्ट नहीं कर सकते। अल-हदाद और हमीदुल्लाह दोनों को कहते हैं कि आप इसको कट नहीं कर सकते, आप इसको कलेक्ट नहीं कर सकते, और मैं तुम्हें वार्निंग देता हूं कि तुम इसे छुओगे नहीं। बट अल-हदाद, in spite of protest, collected reeds from the land एंड स्टार्टेड रिटर्न जर्नी। तो इतना उसने वार्निंग भी दिया, उसके बाद भी उसने रीड्स को कलेक्ट किया, उसके बाद जो है रिटर्न जर्नी वो स्टार्ट कर देता है। सो व्हाइल दे वर रिटर्निंग upstream after collecting of reeds and selling upstream, what happened? One Ghulam Qasim Shah, he was the nephew of the Muhammad Hussain Shah, asked them to return the bundle of reeds as collected from his uncle's land. Party refused to do so. Al-Haddad and Hamidullah, they refused to do so. Then the Qasim Shah caught the rope of the boat and pushed Al-Haddad and gave him a blow. उसने जो है जब वो लोग नदी में सॉरी बोट में चढ़ करके जाने लगे तो गुलाम कासिम शाह ने क्या किया कि नाव के रस्सी को पकड़ लिया और उसके बाद जो है अल्लाहदाद को एक ब्लो देता है और उसको पुश कर देता है। इतना होने के बाद होता क्या है कि अल्लाहदाद बोट में से एक बम्बू पोल को उठाता है, एक डंडे को उठाता है, एंड स्टार्टेड स्ट्रकिंग टू द गुलाम कासिम। कासिम Shah shouted for the help, and what happened? Then Wali Shah and Mahbub Shah. Wali Shah was the son of the Mr. Hussain Shah. So Wali Shah and another character called Mahbub Shah, they came up with the loaded gun for rescue of Mr. Qasim Shah. होता क्या है? On seeing this, Al-Haddad and Hamidullah, the persons who were collecting the hits, tried to escape, but they were prevented फ्रॉम डूइंग सो। उनको जो है प्रिवेंट कर लिया गया, उनको जाने नहीं दिया गया। वली शाह फायर्ड एट अल-हदाद। वली शाह ने अल-हदाद पे फायर किया। हु डाइड ऑलमोस्ट इंस्टेंटली। वो वहीं पे उसकी डेथ हो जाती है। एंड महबूब शाह फायर्ड एट हमीदुल्लाह who got a slight injury and he could not die in this incident. So these were the facts कि एक ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल जो जाता है नदी से रीड्स कलेक्ट करने, दूसरा ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल उनको रोकता है कि भाई आप लोग नहीं करोगे। उन दोनों ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल के बीच स्कफल होता है और फाइनली कुछ लोग और आते हैं रेस्क्यू के लिए, जिन्होंने वो दोनों नाम जो है वली शाह और महबूब शाह होते हैं। वली शाह ने जो है अल-हदाद पे फायर किया और अल-हदाद डाइड ऑलमोस्ट इंस्टेंटली, और हमीदुल्लाह के ऊपर भी फायर हुआ, लेकिन वो जो है बच जाता है, उसको बहुत ही स्लाइट इंजरी होती है। और वली शाह absconded and never caught। वली शाह जो है भाग जाता है और उसे कभी भी नहीं पकड़ा जाता, एंड he was never produced by the police before the court of law। महबूब शाह, गुलाम कासिम शाह were tried and charged under Section 302, read with Section 34 of the Indian Penal Code for the offence of murder of Al-Haddad। Mahbub Shah was sentenced by the trial court of 7 years of imprisonment for attempt to murder, क्योंकि उसने जो है हमीदुल्लाह पे फायर किया था, who got a slight injury, and therefore he was convicted for the offence of attempt to murder with 7 years of rigorous imprisonment। But in appeal, the Lahore High Court sentences him to death under Section 302, read with Section 34 of the Indian Penal Code। क्यों? क्योंकि just because of common intention। Lahore High Court convicted him for the murder of Mr. Al-Haddad just because of common intention by virtue of Section 34 of the Indian Penal Code। Now, Mehboob Shah appealed to the Privy Council, and in appeal, the appeal was allowed and conviction for the murder was set aside। काउंसिल ने उसके मर्डर के कन्विक्शन को सेट असाइड कर दिया एंड रिलीज्ड हिम। नाउ व्हाट हैपेंड? Few principles were laid down in this particular judgment. Let us see what were those principles. So, the first principle was under Section 34, the essence of liability to be found in the existence of common intention, animating the accused leading to the doing of criminal act in furtherance of such intention. This was the first principle laid down in Mehboob Shah versus Emperor AIR 1943. That essence of the liability to be found in the existence of common intention. So whether there was common intention? No, there was no common intention because he shouted for help and few people gathered, Wali Shah and Mehboob Shah. Since the Wali Shah absconded, who was the murderer who opened fire, and due to his fire, someone died. So he was absconded and he was never produced before the court of law. So there is a doubt that is there any common intention or not. And the point number two, care must be taken not to confused with same or similar intention with the common intention. So this was the second principle laid down by the Privy Council in Mehboob Shah case, that care must be taken not to confuse with the same or similar intention with the common intention. These two are two different things. One, common intention is something different and same or similar intention is something different. The partition which divides their bounds is often very thin. Nevertheless, the distinction is real, and substantial, and if overlooked, will result in miscarriage of justice. So the partition is very thin between common intention and the same or similar intention. If it is overlooked, then it would lead to miscarriage of justice. This was the principle laid down in Mahbub Shah versus Inver.
So we have two underlying principles that essence of liability to be found in the existence of common intention, animating the accused, leading to the doing of criminal act in furtherance of such intention or in the furtherance of common intention. So essence of liability is lie under the intention, or we can say the common intention. So in this particular judgment, there is nothing to show that there was a common intent. Point number two, the care must be taken not to be confused with same or similar intention. I emphasis over the term the same or similar intention with the common intention. It should not be confused with. So the partition which divides their bound is often very thin. Nevertheless, the distinction is real and substantial, and if it is overlooked, then will result into the miscarriage of justice. So it was the principle laid down by the Privy Council. अब प्रॉब्लम ये आती है कि नाउ व्हाट इज कॉमन इंटेंशन एंड व्हाट इज सिमिलर इंटेंशन. क्या दोनों सेम हैं या दोनों अलग अलग हैं? So in the present judgment, in this present case, there was no evidence to show that there was pre-meeting of mind between Wali Shah and Mahbub Shah. ऐसा कोई भी एविडेंस नहीं है जो ये शो कर सके कि दोनों के बीच एक बात हुई थी, प्री कंसल्टेशन ऑफ आइडिया हुआ था, प्री कंसल्ट ऑफ माइंड हुआ था, या प्री अरेंज प्लान था. देयर वाज नो प्री प्लान एंड देयर वाज नो सर्कमस्टांसेस व्हिच कैन इन्फॉर्म दिस पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट. So, Mr. Wali Shah and Mr. Mahbub Shah, they were not acted in pre-consultation. They were not acted on pre-plan, and therefore there was no common intention. Of course, two had acted on the same or similar intention, and that intention was to rescue कासिम शाह, क्योंकि कासिम शाह को पिटाई पड़ रही थी, उसको वो लोग बचाने के लिए. दिस वाज द ओनली इंटेंशन एंड देयरफॉर इट वाज अ सेम और similar intention, and if necessary they will use the gun because they were having the gun. So it was an intention which gathered at the point of commission of the crime, and therefore there was no common intention, and therefore Privy Council rightly set aside the judgment delivered by the Lahore High Court to convict him under section 302 read with section 34 of the Indian Penal Code for the offence of murder. Rather, the trial court's judgment was upheld by the Privy Council, that is attempt to murder, conviction of 7 years of imprisonment for the attempt to murder. Come to another important judgment on section 34, that is Panduranga versus State of Hyderabad, AIR 1955, decided by the Supreme Court of India. In this case, there were three characters: Ramchandra, the victim, the deceased, Rasika Bai, and the Subhana Rao. Rasika Bai was the wife's sister, Ramchandra's wife's sister, and Subhana Rao was the servant of the Ramchandra. What happened? The Subhana Rao and the Rasika Bai and the Ramchandra went to their field for collecting chilies. So Rasika Bai and Subhana Rao were collecting chilies in one field, and uh, the Ramchandra, he was collecting chilies in other field. That the distance was 1 furlong. What happened? The Rasika Bai heard some shouting, some rescue news, and she rushed along with the Subhana Rao towards the Ramchandra, and she saw five people were attacking over the Ramchandra with the axes and lathis. And after attacking, when she went there, she protested and wanted to rescue uh, the Ramchandra, but these five people were threatened her with the dire consequences, and Ramchandra died instantly, almost instantly. What happened? These five people, along with the Panduranga, the main accused, they were tried under Section 302, read with Section 34 of the Indian Penal Code. Now, the matter went before the trial court and he was convicted under Section 302, read with Section 34, but the matter went into appeal and the Supreme Court of India set aside his conviction for the offence of murder under Section 302, read with Section 34 of the Indian Penal Code. And what was the reason? This was the fact. Now come to the point. What was the reason? The grounds were what the Supreme Court of India says several persons can simultaneously attack a man, and each may have their own intention to kill, and each can individually inflict a separate fatal blow. Five people were there, and therefore each individually can attack their separate fatal blow, and none would have a common intention. This may be a situation what the Supreme Court of India described, that although all were attacking, but situation may arise that each may have their own common their own intention, because there was no prior meeting of mind. Since there was no evidence to show that there was a prior meeting of mind, infer, and therefore there is no pre-arranged plan. The Supreme Court of India concluded that there was no pre-arranged plan. So each one individually liable for the act what had committed, but none of them would be vicariously liable. This was the conclusion of the Supreme Court of India, that each one would be liable for their own act, but none of them would be vicariously liable for the act of others if the prosecution can prove. The Supreme Court said further that if the prosecution can prove that injury was a fatal one and the individual could be held liable for the offense of murder, अगर आप ये शो कर देते हैं कि इंजरी जो है फैटल वन था, तभी जो है हम इंडिविजुअली मर्डर के लिए इसको कन्विक्ट करेंगे. अदरवाइज देयर कैन नॉट बी कन्विक्शन ओनली ऑन द ग्राउंड ऑफ सेक्शन 34 of the Indian Penal Code. Now come to the point, conviction of one and acquittal of others. This is one of the most important aspects of Section 34. That what happens if only one person is convicted and others are acquitted, whether one person can be convicted under Section 34 or not. So the answer is Section 34 may be invoked even in the cases where some of the co-accused are acquitted by the court of law, provided it can be proved beyond reasonable doubt, before the court of law that either by the direct evidence or by the inferences that accused and few others have committed an offense in furtherance of common intention, but their presence could not be secured by the police before the court of law. Since he was acted in furtherance of common intention with few others, but those few others could not be produced before the court of law by the police, and therefore only one person can be convicted under Section 34 of the Indian Penal Code. Now, we have a very important judgment on this point, that is Wasim Khan versus State of UP, decided by the Supreme Court of India in the year 1956. So it was held in this particular judgment by the Supreme Court of India that a single accused could be convicted by reason of application of Section 34 of the Indian Penal Code if it were established beyond reasonable doubt that such accused shares common intention. So if it is established beyond all reasonable doubt that such accused shares a common intention with few others, who has committed the offence with some others, and therefore who could not be convicted, or who were absconded, or who were acquitted, or those persons who were along with him, those were acquitted, but it is established before the court of law beyond all reasonable doubt that he committed the offence with few others and he shares the common intention. Then in such a situation an individual can be convicted for the offense. In this case, what happened? The A, B, and C jointly tried for by the Sessions Court for the offense under Section 302, read with Section 34 of the Indian Penal Code. What happened in appeal? The High Court acquitted B and C on the ground of reasonable doubt, on the ground of benefit of doubt, and Mr. A was convicted under Section 34. The reason was it was shown on the record before the court of law that he, along with few others, committed the offence whose presence could not be secured before the court of law, and therefore only a single individual can be convicted under Section 34 of the Indian Penal Code if it is shown on the before the court of law or on the record that he, along with few others, have committed the crime. So this is all about Section 34 of the Indian Penal Code. Hope you might have understood that what is meant by common intention. You must go through all the three videos, part 1, part 2, and this is last part, part 3. Then only you can understand that what we call the common intention. Thank you. Thank you very much.